Have you ever looked at your lab results, seen your creatinine creeping higher, and felt a quiet panic rise in your chest, wondering if your kidneys are failing faster than anyone has admitted? If that moment feels familiar, listen closely because what you are about to hear could change how your kidneys survive each day. My name is Dr. Richard Hale. After decades of treating kidney patients across the United States, I can say this without hesitation. For millions of Americans, kidney damage is not accelerating because of age, genetics, or bad luck. It is accelerating because of one simple habit repeated every single morning. This is what makes it dangerous. The habit feels harmless, routine, even healthy. Yet I have watched patients move from stable kidney function to rapid decline in months, not years, because no one warned them. By the time symptoms appear, the damage is already unfolding beneath the surface. Your kidneys are most vulnerable in the first minutes after you wake up. Overnight dehydration thickens, the blood hormones shift, and filtration pressure rises. When the wrong drink enters your body at that exact moment, it can trigger inflammation, spike creatinine, and overload fragile nephrons before your day truly begins. But here is the turning point. That same morning window can either accelerate damage or begin protection. When the harmful habit is replaced with the right choice, the body responds faster than most people expect. I have seen patients step back from the edge of dialysis simply by changing what they drink first. In this video, I will show you which common morning drinks quietly damage your kidneys and which ones are scientifically proven to support filtration and calm inflammation. If kidney health matters to you or someone you love, stay with me. What you hear next may determine the direction of your health for years. Before we talk about what can heal your kidneys, we have to confront what is quietly harming them. Because for many people, kidney decline does not begin with disease. It begins with a drink they reach for every single morning without a second thought. I want you to picture a typical morning. You wake up still dehydrated from the night. Your blood is thicker, your kidneys are already under pressure, and before your body has a chance to rebalance something, hits your system hard. Sweetened coffee with cream, bottled fruit juice, a so-called energy drink, maybe even a smoothie that sounds healthy on the label. This is often the first insult your kidneys face every day. I remember a patient named Michael, 59 years old, hardworking, disciplined, convinced he was doing everything right. Every morning without fail, he drank a large glass of cranberry juice. He had heard it was good for urinary health, so he never questioned it. What he did not realize was that the brand he chose contained nearly 36 grams of sugar in a single serving, along with a potassium load his kidneys could no longer manage. Within 4 months, his creatinine jumped from 2.1 to 3.4. He came into my office confused and scared, asking the same question many patients ask. How did this happen when I was trying to be healthy? His kidneys were not failing because he ignored his health. They were failing because the wrong morning drink was forcing them to fight inflammation before the day even started. Science explains why this is so damaging. Studies show that high glycemic morning beverages can increase oxidative stress markers by more than 40% while triggering inflammatory cytokines that directly impair nephron function. When this happens day after day, the kidneys do not collapse suddenly. They erode quietly, sip by sip. Let me ask you something. Have you ever grabbed a morning drink without checking the label, assuming it was harmless or even beneficial? If that sounds familiar, you are not alone, and I want you to leave a comment because I read everyone. Here is the most important takeaway. Removing harmful morning drinks is not about discipline, it is about awareness. And awareness creates opportunity, but simply avoiding damage is not enough. Because what truly changes kidney outcomes is what you replace these drinks with. And the first replacement surprises almost everyone, because it looks far too simple to matter. But in reality, it can change the entire direction of kidney health. Once the damaging morning drinks are removed, the question becomes simple but critical. What do you replace them with when your kidneys are at their most vulnerable? And this is where one of the most underestimated habits in kidney care quietly changes everything. Fresh lemon water with a tiny pinch of Himalayan pink salt does not look impressive. It does not sound medical. Many people dismiss it as too basic to matter. But in practice, it has helped more of my kidney patients stabilize than almost any supplement I have ever seen. I think of Patricia, a 64-year-old retired teacher who came to me exhausted and frightened. Her creatinine had climbed to 4.8 and dialysis was already being discussed. We did not start with extreme changes. We started with her mornings. 16 ounces of filtered water, half a freshly squeezed lemon, and no more than 1/8 of a teaspoon of pink salt taken alone on an empty stomach. Within 8 weeks, her creatinine dropped to 3.9. Her swelling eased. Her energy returned. What surprised her doctors most was not just the improvement, but how quickly her body responded once the morning stress on her kidneys was reduced. The science explains why this works. Lemons are rich in citric acid, which binds calcium and helps prevent stone formation. A University of California study found that daily lemon water reduced kidney stone recurrence by up to 85%. At the same time, the trace minerals in Himalayan pink salt support fluid balance and cellular signaling without overwhelming the kidneys the way processed salt can. But here is where many people get it wrong. Too much lemon, too much salt, or drinking it with food which cancels half the benefit. Subtlety is the key. When done correctly, this drink gently wakes up the kidneys instead of shocking them. But knowing this alone is not enough because hydration is only the first layer of healing. There is another drink that works deeper, clearing what your kidneys have been struggling to release for years. If lemon water gently rehydrates and protects the kidneys, the next drink works on a different battlefield entirely. It helps the body release what has been quietly building up and weighing your kidneys down for years. That drink is dandelion root tea. Most people see dandelions as weeds, something to pull out of the yard and throw away. But in clinical practice, dandelion root behaves like a quiet internal cleaner, especially for kidneys under chronic stress. It supports natural fluid release without stripping the body of minerals, which is exactly where many medications fail. I think of Robert, a 57-year-old long-haul truck driver whose kidney function had been declining despite good blood sugar control. He lived on the road, ate irregular meals, and dealt with constant swelling in his legs and hands. Nothing dramatic was wrong on paper, yet his labs kept slipping. When we introduced 2 cups of properly brewed dandelion root tea each day, 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening, something finally shifted. Over 6 months, his inflammatory markers dropped by more than 30%. His swelling eased, and his rate of kidney decline slowed in a way he had not seen in years. He told me he felt lighter, as if his body had finally stopped holding on to something it did not need. Science helps explain why. Dandelion root acts as a natural diuretic while preserving potassium and magnesium. It also contains inulin, a soluble fiber that feeds beneficial gut bacteria. This matters because an unhealthy gut produces more uremic toxins, forcing the kidneys to compensate. When gut toxin load drops, kidney stress drops with it. But here is where people miss the benefit. Cheap tea bags and quick steeping leave most of the healing compounds behind. True effectiveness comes from simmering whole-dried roots for at least 15 minutes, especially when consumed on an empty stomach. But knowing how to clear toxins is still not enough because kidney recovery also depends on circulation. And the next drink supports blood flow in a way most patients never expect. If dandelion root tea helps your body release what no longer belongs, the next drink focuses on something just as critical, but far less discussed. It improves circulation, reduces internal pressure, and lightens the toxic load arriving at your kidneys from another organ entirely. That drink is fresh celery juice. Most people fear celery because of sodium, but what they do not understand is that the sodium in celery is not the same as processed salt. It is organically bound, balanced with potassium, magnesium, and phytonutrients that help the kidneys regulate fluid rather than trap it. In practice, this distinction matters more than almost anything else. I remember Sandra, a 48-year-old office manager with early-stage kidney disease. Her creatinine hovered around 1.9, and every test seemed to creep slightly higher. She was tired every morning, foggy by midday, and frustrated because she was not doing anything obviously wrong. We made one simple change. 16 ounces of freshly pressed celery juice each morning, taken alone on an empty stomach. Within 6 weeks, her energy returned. The mental fog lifted. Her digestion improved. And for the first time in over a year, her creatinine stabilized. Nothing else in her routine changed. What changed was the pressure her kidneys were under. The science supports this. Celery contains compounds called phthalides that relax blood vessel walls, improving circulation and oxygen delivery directly to the kidneys. It also provides antioxidants like vitamin C and beta-carotene that reduce inflammation inside delicate kidney tissue. Even more importantly, celery supports liver detoxification, meaning fewer harmful metabolites reach the kidneys in the first place. But here's the mistake that cancels the benefit. Bottled celery juice, pasteurized versions, or blends mixed with apple juice lose their therapeutic compounds quickly. Celery juice must be fresh, and it must be consumed alone to work. But knowing how to improve circulation is still not enough, because blood pressure and oxidative stress can undo all of this progress. And that is where the next drink becomes a powerful shield. If fresh celery juice helps improve circulation and ease pressure inside the kidneys, the next drink steps in as a powerful protector, especially for people whose kidneys are under constant attack from high blood pressure and oxidative stress. That drink is hibiscus tea. Hibiscus may look delicate, almost harmless, but inside that deep red color is one of the strongest natural defenders of kidney tissue I have ever used in practice. I think of David, a 62-year-old mechanic who had battled high blood pressure for more than a decade. Despite multiple medications, his numbers stayed high, and every 6 months his creatinine crept upward. He felt tired, frustrated, and afraid of where things were heading. We added one simple habit, 1 cup of fully brewed hibiscus tea in the morning and another in the evening. Within 12 weeks, his systolic blood pressure dropped by 10 to 15 points. That single change gave his kidneys the breathing room they desperately needed, and his lab results finally stabilized. Science explains why this works. Hibiscus is rich in anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that neutralize free radicals before they damage kidney tissue. Studies published in the Journal of Nutrition show hibiscus tea can reduce oxidative stress markers by up to 45% in people at high risk of kidney damage. It also acts as a gentle diuretic, helping release excess fluid without stripping essential minerals. But most people misuse it. They sweeten it, dilute it, or steep it too briefly, turning a therapeutic drink into flavored water. To work, hibiscus must be brewed deep red and consumed consistently. But protecting the kidneys from pressure and oxidation is still not the full picture, because metabolic inflammation silently drives kidney decline in another powerful way. If hibiscus tea shields the kidneys from pressure and oxidative damage, the next drink goes after a quieter enemy that destroys kidney function from the inside out. That enemy is metabolic inflammation. And this is where green tea with fresh ginger becomes a powerful ally. For many patients, especially those with diabetes or prediabetes, kidney damage begins long before creatinine spikes. High blood sugar and insulin resistance quietly injure the microscopic blood vessels that feed the nephrons. I saw this clearly with Margaret, a 71-year-old grandmother with stage 3 kidney disease. She woke up exhausted, nauseated, and jittery every morning. Coffee made her worse, and medications left her drained. We made one change. Her morning coffee was replaced with green tea gently brewed, infused with a thin slice of fresh ginger. Within 4 months, her nausea eased, her appetite returned, and her energy stabilized. Most importantly, her creatinine stopped climbing for the first time in nearly a year. The science behind this is compelling. Green tea contains catechins, especially EGCG, which are among the most powerful natural antioxidants studied. Long-term research shows regular green tea consumption is associated with up to a 44% lower risk of developing chronic kidney disease. Ginger amplifies these effects by improving circulation, reducing inflammatory signaling, and supporting insulin sensitivity. But preparation matters. Water that is too hot destroys catechins. Powdered ginger lacks potency. When brewed correctly, this combination reduces internal pressure on the kidneys instead of stimulating them. Yet metabolic balance alone cannot complete the healing process, because excess uric acid and crystal formation continue to threaten kidney tissue. And that is exactly what the next drink quietly helps prevent. If green tea with ginger calms metabolic inflammation, the next drink focuses on a quieter but equally dangerous threat to kidney health. One that builds slowly, silently, and often shows up only when damage is already done. That threat is excess uric acid and microscopic crystal formation, and this is where parsley tea quietly changes the equation. Most people think of parsley as nothing more than a garnish, something decorative on a dinner plate. But inside this simple herb are compounds that act like a natural filtration assistant for stressed kidneys. I saw this clearly with Carlos, a 54-year-old restaurant owner who had lived in fear of recurring kidney stones for years. Each episode meant pain emergency visits, missed work, and rising creatinine that left him anxious about the future. When we introduced 1 cup of parsley tea each morning, taken on an empty stomach, the pattern finally broke. Over 8 months, he did not experience a single stone episode. His creatinine dropped from 2.3 to 2.0, and the constant swelling he had accepted as normal slowly eased. He told me it felt like his body had stopped bracing for the next attack. Science explains why this works. Parsley contains flavonoids like apigenin that help reduce oxidative stress and support controlled diuresis without stripping essential minerals. It also helps inhibit the crystallization of calcium and oxalate, the most common contributors to kidney stones, reducing long-term structural damage inside the kidneys. But preparation matters. Fresh leaves and stems steeped for 10 to 15 minutes release the strongest therapeutic compounds. Consistency is what turns this from a pleasant tea into protection. Yet even crystal control is not enough on its own, because declining kidneys often suffer from mineral depletion and anemia. And that is where the next drink becomes essential. If parsley tea helps prevent crystals and ease one major source of kidney stress, the next drink addresses something many kidney patients feel every day, but rarely connect to their kidneys: deep fatigue, weakness, shortness of breath. And that is where nettle leaf tea becomes quietly transformative. Nettle is often dismissed as a stinging weed, something people avoid in their gardens. But nutritionally, it is one of the most mineral-dense plants ever studied for kidney support. I think of Helen, a 68-year-old artist with chronic kidney disease who came to me exhausted, pale, and discouraged. Her hemoglobin had dropped to 9.2. Iron supplements upset her stomach, and nothing seemed to restore her strength. We added 2 cups of nettle leaf tea to her daily routine. 1 in the morning, 1 later in the day. Within 3 months, her hemoglobin rose to 10.8. Her color returned. Her energy followed. She told me it felt like someone had turned the lights back on inside her body. The science supports her experience. Nettle provides naturally bound iron, magnesium, calcium, and potassium in forms the body absorbs gently without overwhelming weakened kidneys. It also contains vitamin C, which improves iron absorption, and compounds shown to reduce inflammatory markers and oxidative stress within kidney tissue. This combination helps support red blood cell production while easing filtration strain. Preparation matters here as well. Nettle must be steeped for 15 to 20 minutes to fully release its minerals. When brewed correctly, it does not just cleanse, it nourishes. But nourishment alone cannot create lasting recovery unless these drinks are used in the right rhythm. And that final piece often determines whether kidney function stabilizes or continues to decline. By now, you may be wondering something important. Do you need to drink all of these every single morning for your kidneys to improve? And the answer is no. In fact, doing that would overwhelm your system and cancel many of the benefits. This is where combination and rotation become the true turning point. Your kidneys heal best with rhythm, not intensity. I often tell patients to think of support like a relay team, not a solo runner. Each drink does one job exceptionally well: hydration, detoxification, circulation, blood pressure control, metabolic balance, mineral replenishment. When you rotate them, you give your kidneys targeted help without exhausting the same pathways day after day. I remember Amelia, a 61-year-old woman who struggled with fluctuating creatinine and constant fatigue. She felt overwhelmed by advice and paralyzed by too many rules. We simplified everything into a weekly rhythm: 1 healing drink each morning on an empty stomach, rotating through the week. Lemon water one day, dandelion root the next, celery juice, hibiscus, green tea with ginger, parsley, nettle. By the 3rd month, her creatinine stabilized and her energy returned. What changed most was her confidence. She felt in control again. Science supports this approach. Studies on herbal cycling show that rotating plant compounds can improve absorption, reduce receptor fatigue, and enhance long-term responsiveness. Instead of forcing the kidneys to adapt to one stimulus, you create gentle waves of support that compound over time. Healing, in other words, becomes sustainable, predictable, calm. But knowing what to drink and when to rotate is still not the final piece, because the most important factor in kidney recovery has nothing to do with tea or timing, and it is what we need to talk about next. If you have stayed with me until this moment, I want you to hear this clearly. You are already doing something powerful for your kidneys. You chose to learn. You chose to pay attention. And that matters more than most people realize. Kidney health does not improve through fear, panic, or chasing perfection. It improves through calm, steady choices made consistently over time. If some days feel discouraging, that does not mean you are failing. It means your body is still adapting. Healing is rarely loud or dramatic. Most of the time, it happens quietly beneath the surface, long before lab numbers begin to reflect the change. My advice is simple and realistic. Start where you are. Do not try to fix everything at once. Choose one supportive habit you can repeat each morning, one drink, one routine, one moment where your kidneys feel less pressure and more safety. Over time, those small moments accumulate into protection your body recognizes and responds to. Before you leave, please do something important for yourself. Save this video. Come back to it whenever you feel overwhelmed, confused, or unsure about what your kidneys need next. And if you want continued access to the latest science-based medical insights on kidney health, subscribe to this channel. I share clear, practical information designed to help you protect your kidneys, stabilize creatinine, and make decisions based on understanding rather than fear. Your health matters. Your time matters. And knowledge is one of the strongest tools you have to slow kidney decline and preserve your quality of life. Every new insight becomes another layer of protection for you and for the people who care about you. No matter what your lab results say today, remember this. Your kidneys are resilient. They respond when given the right support. Healing is still possible. Hope is still real. And you do not have to face this journey alone.